So in an earlier video, we took a look at the Shure Aonic 3, one of Shure's new designs in the Aonic lineup of in-ear monitors. Today we're looking at the higher models in the range, the Aonic 4 and 5. Unlike the Aonic 3, which has an unusual barrel design, the 4 and 5 go back to Shure's traditional design favored by both stage musicians and motorcyclists alike, thanks to its comfortable and discreet flat fit in the ear, as well as the design's strong noise isolation. Despite the familiar look, there's actually quite a lot of changes under the hood with these new models. With the Aonic 4, we have Shure's first hybrid design, with a balanced armature driver for the high frequencies combined with a dynamic driver for the lows. The look of the Aonic 5, especially in the transparent color option, might remind you a lot of the Shure SE846, which is probably intentional, as the Aonic 5 is in many ways like a mini Shure flagship. When the SE846 launched in 2013, the quad driver design was quite groundbreaking. In today's market, the Aonic 5 seems quite conservative by comparison, with 3 BA drivers for lows, mids, and highs. The Aonic 5 inherits the changeable filter design from the SE846, letting you choose between the standard sound or add a bit more bass or treble. The Aonic 5 slots in at a bit over half the price of the SE846, and as far as we understand, this new model does not replace the flagship in the lineup. In terms of sound, there's a lot to like. We'll start with the Aonic 4, which, as I mentioned before, is Shure's first attempt at a hybrid earphone. There's a lot of weight to the lower mid-range on the Aonic 4, so much so that on first impression, I actually found it a bit muddy. If you listen a bit longer though, you'll find that bass is actually pretty well controlled, and it's the lower mid-range that gives the sound a thick, somewhat addictive density that makes vocals sound like a real treat. On top of that, the balanced armature driver adds just enough detail and crispness without ever really standing out. This is a hybrid earphone, but in many ways it actually sounds like a really upgraded, clearer sounding version of the entry-level single driver Shure SE215. My only criticism is that the thickness of the lower mids can tend to make the sound of the Aonic 4 sound a bit congested at times, with a narrower soundstage as a result. In comparison, the Aonic 5 mostly keeps that rich sound, but tones down the lower mid-range so that things sound overall clearer and more controlled. And while the bass from the Aonic 4's dynamic driver isn't slow, the Aonic 5 sounds noticeably punchier and less resonant, as you would expect from a BA driver. With the stock filter, the Aonic 5 also has a bit more sizzle in the upper mid-range and high frequencies. This enhances vocal clarity, but it can also tend to sound a bit abrasive with hot recordings. It's a tizziness that doesn't turn up in every track, but it happens often enough that I prefer the sound of the Aonic 5 with a warmer bass filter, which rolls off some of that extra high-end energy. Overall, the Aonic 5 sounds like a Shure SE846 with more energy in the mids and highs, and less density and volume to the bass. It depends on what you like. The Aonic 4 has an easygoing sound that isn't excessively forgiving, and it's definitely one of my favorite earphones at this price point. The Aonic 5 adds a bit more spice and clarity, which makes it a better critical reference, but not as relaxing to listen to for hours and hours. Shure hasn't done anything too exciting here compared to the exotic driver setups of competing brands, but they've done what I think they do best: deliver consistent performance in a well-balanced package. Pop into the store and see for yourself. This is Lachlan for Minidisc TV, and we'll see you next time.